and welcome to my podcast.
Whee!
Yay. A place where I and other nerds are going to gather to talk about the things we like. In case you don't know, I'm Reaper, your, head of Reaper Babe Gaming, YouTube channel, Patreon, Reaper Babe 7 on Twitch. If you don't know my name, I don't know how you got here, to be honest. And for our pilot episode of a podcast, we have the lovely Grace on Cosplay, aka my cosplay wife, aka one of the greatest friends I have made in the cosplay community.
Oh,
I had to give that
darling. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm just coming in here to have a nice little chat with the beautiful little Reaper today, and we're just gonna have a nice little one, talk about some cosplay, talk about some games, talk about our lovely little life in Japan. I say lovely little life, questionable sometimes that one, but we do our best.
If anyone watches my streams, they absolutely know.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. Speaking of, since we kind of started with that, cosplay.
Yes, cosplay. I think we should talk about cosplay first because, generally that is how we know each other as well.
That's how we met and everything.
Right? Because I can't remember who DM'd who first. This is just my message to the listeners. Slide into cute girls' DMs.
Sometimes works if you're respectful.
Totally platonically, okay? I'm not saying I'm trying to get with your girl, okay?
But she absolutely could if she wanted to. If she really wanted to try, she could.
Hey, I'm a married woman, thank you very much.
Hey.
But yeah, I think one of us messaged one of us because we hashtagged that we were going to World Cosplay Summit, and it was quite a quiet one that year because it was 2 years ago now. So there was still some COVID restrictions in place, so a lot of people weren't coming from overseas for it. So it was really easy to this person. There's 2 other people going that I can see on these Instagram tags.
And it's really easy. It's really easy to find the people who are foreign, the foreigners. I'm just gonna say it, the foreigners, the Guy Kokujin, because we don't look Japanese. So it's Guy Kokujin going to a cosplay summit. They probably speak English. Friendship.
Right? It's we must stick together. I think in Japan there's certainly this element of it's so easy to make friends with other gaijin, generally, not always, but because we know it's a little bit more difficult for us here. So it's you know what? We can stick together. I've got a friend here, and we were very, very lucky that it was I've got a friend here. And oh my god, actually we get on really well. What the hell?
I think it also really helps when it's in the hobby sphere. I know we said we're going to talk about cosplay, but we both live in Japan for a long time now. The hobby sphere in Japan is if they're not at work, they live at their hobby. It's work or hobby or sleep. Whereas you and I are hey, I'm going to this con. Are you going? Yes, cool. Let's meet up. Do you want to do something together? No. Hey, have a great time. I'll message you after. We send memes generally, but it's not this thing of, hey, this con is coming up. You'll be there, right? We're meeting at 7 a.m. It's just, you going? Cool. Let's go together kind of thing. So that camaraderie. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of Japanese people, it's more than a hobby for them. I know a lot of Japanese people, without generalizing too much.
Yeah.
Their hobby is their most big interest outside of work. And they tend to, have one big hobby, one big interest. And maybe that's, quite a wide one, like anime. Or maybe that's a smaller one, like cosplay. Or maybe it's even smaller, like one particular Pokemon.
Yeah.
But, people have that one thing that they really love. So a lot of their time and effort goes into that one thing. So it's well, why wouldn't I wake up at 7 a.m., meet my Pokemon friend, and go to the Pokemon event, as early as possible in the sweltering heat, because that is my interest. And that brings me such joy. And that's really amazing to see. And I think that's wonderful that Japanese fans are just so dedicated. But for me, oh no, I'm not doing that.
The ADHD in me won't even let me finish a game half the time. No, I've got to jump around. But I think that's one of the things that like brings us to cosplay, right? Is that there's so many things, and you can have one day where like this for me, right? I think my big things are I love working on wigs and I love doing
Mm.
makeup and I'm working on my sewing, but mostly I just like dressing up as the character and really like acting out the character because that's, my theater
Yeah.
background and stuff. So it's great because one day I can be really like, no, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to get this wig done. I've got everything. Let's go. The next day, it's like, you know what? No, I want to dress up with whatever I've got available
Mm.
and record some content because I want to be acty kind of thing. So I think for us in cosplay, especially, we're like, you know what? This is a this day. This is a this day. And I think that's why it kind of maybe vibes with us. Also,
Yeah.
the neurospicy in me is like, it can't be the same.
It's the neurospicy and it's also the theater kid energy that we both bring. Like you can take the theater out of the kid, but
You
the,
can't.
the kid out of the theater, but you can't take the theater kid out of it. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
You know.
Why do you think one woman shows became a thing? People are like, now listen, what if I just did
All
everything?
these characters.
That is literally cosplay, I feel. Like the cosplay shows and stuff, which leads us into World Cosplay Summit, when they're doing this acting and they make it, they do the costume, the makeup, like even if they have friends like helping them, like that's totally fine because there's just spots on your body that you can't reach. I immediately think of the Borderlands cosplayers, where they have to like get into the weird angles just to draw some like lines on them for dimension. Yeah. And then getting into the acting is like that. This is just theater. Cosplay is just theater. Change my mind.
Absolutely. And for me, like, I think others, with cosplay, there's so many different routes and types of cosplayers. There's those who are like, I'm here for the skill. I want to make the most beautiful, embellished, gorgeous costume. And the character doesn't bother me or interest me so much. It's just the skill of it. And then there's ones who are like, I just want to be the character. And, I think, and there's ones who just, they love the show itself or part of the hanging out with friends. I've got a friend here and I'm always like, do you want to come to like a con with us and cosplay with us? And she's like, nah, because the things I like people don't really like in Japan, so I don't feel the same camaraderie. And I'm like, I get that.
It is. I felt this way. I felt this way when I first cosplayed at World Cosplay Summit 2 years ago when I was Caitlin. One person was very sweet, but he got me mixed up with an anime. But I'll take it because he thought I was one of the girls from Magical Knight Rayarth from Clamp, and I love
yes,
that.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
but he was so sweet. I think he was working the event actually. So you can't ever hold that against people. But that's the thing is that at the time, Arcane wasn't really popular, especially at a anime convention. And then this year when we went, even though we thought Baldur's Gate 3 would be a little bit more popular, of course we did a Yukata version, because for people who don't know, World Cosplay Summit is in the summer. Hot in the summer. It's all outside venues except for the actual like competition, which is only like on for like a couple of hours, like afternoon to like evening. So,
And like honestly, I'll say that as much as I do enjoy the event, and there is, we met some really great people, etc., etc., it's simply too hot that it's just the risk of being unwell is too high for me, I think. So I don't think I'd do it again, to be honest. I've done it twice now, and yes, it's fun, but like at the risk of my personal health, I wouldn't recommend it for anyone who's thinking, oh, I really want to come to Japan and do the World Cosplay Summit. I'm like, yes, but do it maybe once or maybe choose a different event to come to, unless you are accustomed to heat.
or
Unless you're like, in my country, this ain't nothing. Fine,
right.
great. But if you're like British, don't. Just don't. Just you will die.
Which you're the resident Brit here, so you know. Speaking from experience.
Yes. That's all it is.
I mean, even from a Floridian, hello, in case people didn't know, like Florida is so hot and humid that even if you stand in the shade, it is still hot. But the thing is that there's like at least air conditioning blasting
Mm.
everywhere. World Cosplay Summit does not have that. I'm so loath to not go though, because I'm gonna be totally honest. I love
Mm.
attention. If you put work into something, whether you made it from scratch or you bought something and then you worked on the wig, which is what I tend to do
Mm.
recently, like you want to kind of show it off and you want people to appreciate it. And I will say, World Cosplay Summit has some of like not only the most photographers that show up in my
That's some of the
opinion.
best photographers.
Yeah, they're really respectful. In my opinion, I have not had a disrespectful photographer at World Cosplay Summit. Now I know you and I saw someone this last time who he
Yeah,
wasn't.
it was hard to tell what quite was going on there.
But I
You know
will,
what I mean?
yeah, but I'll say I don't think they were a photographer. I think they were.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, the photographers all have badges, so you'll know, or like a lanyard or whatever. So you'll know who is a photographer, and if they're not, just tell them to F off,
Yeah,
basically.
but that was the thing is that like they only take pictures like however I'm gonna say it, however lewd you want to pose within the realms because it's a public place. Like children
Mm.
are allowed to freely walk into this place, but as lewdly as you want to pose and what costume you want to wear, and that's completely up to you. Like,
It's your comfort zone.
yeah,
If the cameraman is like in an angle and you're like, I don't think so. I've seen girls just be like, oh, ないでください, like, don't do that, please. And they've been like, oh, わかりましたすみません. Yes, sorry. And do something else, you know. It's, yeah.
so I do find World Cosplay Summit to be very respectful when it comes to photographers. And again, there's just so many. Now, of course, what was it? I was Ruby Hoshino from Hoshino Ko last year, and that was the year you didn't go, but I had like a line of people for like 2 to 3 hours straight. Yes, I am flipping my hair and tooting my own horn here, but again, the very first year I went, Caitlin, one person I think took my picture besides my friend.
Yep.
And then this past year we had maybe 3 or 4 people.
Yep.
Yeah. So it really depends on what you're wearing. So if you're wearing something very niche, not anime, maybe World Cosplay Summit is for you to skip. Try Tokyo Comic Con or Osaka Comic
Yeah, I do
Con.
Comic Con or game show if it's a game character. Like,
Yeah.
those are probably the two for you. But if it's like anime or like Genshin or that kind of thing, yeah, absolutely. World Cosplay Summit is for you. And I do remember just sort of going back to the photographer thing. Someone was asking me, how do I find photographers in Japan because they wanted to do a shoot? And I was like, this is
This is
the best
it.
way. Go to events and you know, cameramen find you. And then afterwards they send you the pictures on Twitter. It's usually Twitter. Sorry, Japan, real big on the Twitter.
But we will not call it X.
Oh, I'll
We
never call it X. How dare you?
fuck off. It's not X. It'll always be Twitter.
Come to my house. Try to call it X. No. So yeah, they'll send you all the pictures on Twitter afterwards and be like, do with them as you wish. Just make sure you tag the photographer. And then some of them will be like, if you want to do some more shooting, maybe in a studio, please just message me anytime. So I had a couple of those, which was really nice as well. So it is just going to events and getting picked up by photographers, essentially.
And I have found, what is it called? Name cards. But not name cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. I immediately, I knew in Japanese, meshi.
Business
Meshi,
cards.
business cards, thank you. Dungeon meshi. That's wrong. Meishi. Business cards work really, really well. But like you're saying, they're only going to really contact you on Twitter because that's like the big thing in Japan, I feel, especially for photographers and cosplayers.
Yeah, so if you just have Instagram, they might be like, oh, I can't send you the photos.
I have had.
'Cause,
Sorry.
yeah. No, go for it. Just some of them are just a bit reluctant to get Insta to do that.
To be fair, though, the couple of photographers that I have met that did have Instagram, only posted like 2 or 3 pictures and then like forgot about it. Whereas the photographers, I follow quite a few of the photographers that photograph me because I'm kind of like, oh, what event are you going to be at? Especially if I liked what they did. Because like we were saying about hobbies, these photographers take it very seriously. Like they're not coming in with their smartphones and things like that. It's not cell phones. They are
No.
they're not professional photographers, but they got professional equipment and they have put in the time to understand.
With like light boxes.
They do!
And reflectors. And like there's a whole suitcase full of stuff and lenses and things. And they just wheel it up to you and they're like, oh, is it okay if I take your picture? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, as they set up this like full studio around you, and you're like, this is a lot, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
The pictures they take are great. Usually, a couple are a bit like, okay, that's all right. Yeah.
I will say another thing though too that's good about World Cosplay Summit is that despite it being outside and hot as fuck, there's space. So like if you find a spot you camp in, everyone just comes to you and like they have that space to set up. Other photographers are like waiting in line, but they're also like, setting up their gear for their next kind of thing. That let's pop it up. Okay, pop it down. Thank you kind of thing. It really, again, in my opinion, it truly is probably one of the best, if not the best, to meet photographers. Because I love Tokyo Comic Con, but it is so crowded and crammed because it's one building.
It's crowded, it's crammed, and other things are going on. Mm-hmm. So what I will say about like World Cosplay Summit and like Comiket as well is a bit like this. I know Comiket has a whole lot of it going on. We're not really talking about like what's in Comiket today, but
I've never been.
I have never been, but my friend goes every year and she tells me all about it.
Oh, we need to go.
We do. But talking cosplay, just for a moment. That I've seen people on TikTok making, or TikTok or Reels or whatever video service you like to use. And they'll be like, oh, I went to a cosplay event in Japan and it was just people taking pictures and like other cosplayers weren't hanging out. And like, yes, there are like cosplayers who go just to take pictures.
Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
That's me.
And that's absolutely fine. But there are also cosplayers who want to make friends and want to talk to people. And I think sometimes it can be difficult, especially when there's a long line of people who want to take a picture of a cosplayer, to go and be like, oh my god, I love this character. Because genuinely most people do want to connect. Like I saw another Marcial and we were like, we had a big hug and it was really, really cute and we had a nice chat. So, there are a lot of people who do want to connect, but I think it can be, especially as a foreigner, when you see like long lines of people just to take pictures, you think, oh, is this it? And like, if you do want to do other things other than cosplay and make cosplay connections, again, World Cosplay Summit, not quite for you. Unless you want to go watch the show, there's not other activities going on. Whereas like, Tokyo Comic Con, there's a hell of a lot of other stuff and shows and things to buy, and game show is exactly the same. There's like hundreds of indie games you can go and play. But World Cosplay Summit, probably not for you, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, if you want to be in a group or like you want to meet up with people and like do things, probably the best would be to find them on Twitter first, social media first.
Yeah.
And then
find people first.
Yeah, and then DM them and be like, hey, we're gonna be busy, we're gonna take pictures, but do you want to like grab dinner? Like after we change out of cosplay, do you want to grab dinner? We can talk, kind of thing. But yeah, you're right. Meeting people and like taking that time, because that happened to us this time. We met that group of 3 people. The Sailor Moon, you got the cosplayers.
Okay.
While we were in the middle of taking pictures with someone, and then he kept wanting to take pictures of every single one of us, which, fair, we were all in cosplay and we all want each other to have our moment because we worked on these cosplays. Exactly. But it did like keep breaking the conversation, and then in the end we were just all so tired that we were like, okay, we got each other's information, cool, bye-bye. Good thing we all live in Japan. But if you're coming out of the country just for this to make connections, again, I agree with you. World Cosplay Summit probably isn't it.
Yeah, because you won't, even if you're thinking, well, there's loads of other international cosplayers there who are there for the competition, they are not really released to the public. Those poor guys are on the Saturday, they are rehearsing and then they are doing their performance and they are locked into their little Aichi Arts Center space. And then on the Sunday, they do their parade and then a lot of them are taken away or go away again. So if you're thinking, oh, I really want to talk to the competitors,
Nope.
that it probably won't happen. Like you'll really have to try and seek them out on the Sunday. And fantastic, the show is fantastic. I've watched the show a few times and like it is excellent. But yeah, if that is also your goal to connect with international competitors, it is a bit hard, to be honest, to do that.
That's really interesting because it really shows the juxtaposition of like cosplayers that you and I are, despite being really good friends and cosplaying together. You are really into the craftsmanship, into like the showmanship of it, where people think I would be really into the showmanship of it, and I'm going to be honest, I'd be critiquing them the entire time. Because of that theater background, I'm like, I have 20 something thousand dollars in theater degree debt. How dare you guys not be? Kind
You
of thing.
are into the characterization, you're into the performance, you're into the feeling of the character. For me, I'm into it as like when I put a costume on, I go, wee, I'm Aloy! Like, I made the Aloy! I look like Aloy! I did the thing! Like, it's an excitement of I made this thing and it looks like the thing.
And you deserve that because yours are amazing. Your craftsmanship is
Thank you.
God. God tier is all I'm gonna say. It truly is
Not bad.
the attention to detail and the things you find. You're like, yeah, I made this from this, and I'm like, that's 100 yen. And you're like, yeah, she's got a couple of them, and I just magic, and it's done. And I'm like, if I did that, it would be on fire, right?
And my favorite thing about cosplay is looking at something and going, I can find that. Whatever that weird thing is on the costume, it's either I can make that somehow, or I can find that out in the wild and paint that till it's the right color. And the searching and the looking and the crafting, it's all like, oh, eat that up.
That is, see, that's again. You do that where you. I don't know why I just imagine you like a minion scrounging around for all the things like, oh, and if I do this, and then I get this, and then I make
Exactly
this.
what I look like. It's just accurate, basically.
It's the prop making in the details. You and Ziakio, you guys, he's working on Dead Space right now, and the things that he's doing, he works with 3D printing, but the way that he's like, okay, so this isn't exactly fitting, so I'm gonna do this. And then you were, like, the things you show me, you made Marcial's staff, and that thing is perfect.
And I was like, you know what? I don't want to use contact cement because it smells so much and it's summertime and I can't open my windows because I've got the aircon on too high. And I don't want the heat coming in. So I was like, I'm going to use a glue gun.
Glue guns are absolutely valid. Doesn't matter if it's supposed to be sewed or hair. Doesn't matter.
Right? And there's
Glue gun
like,
used all the time.
Who would like look down on like using a glue gun rather than contact cement or like using certain techniques or it not being 100% accurate or textures or that kind of thing. And that's one thing about cosplay that's a bit like there is an elitist element to some crafting that I don't agree with. So like I was saying about finding something that looks like a thing, like a shiny circle, and I'm like, oh yeah, found that, delicious. I'll make that into the other thing. There's people who are like, no, you have to hand make absolutely everything. And if you're doing a contest, fine, that has to be handmade. But then there's people who are like, also, you need to have like a laser cutter and a 3D printer and a da-da-da and a da-da-da and da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't have that. Like, I'm cheap. I will not buy a 3D printer. I don't have the space for that. I live in a small Japanese apartment. Like, where's that gonna go? So a lot of mine is like trying to work out what I can do with my own budget as well. But there's a lot of, I remember seeing a poll, like no shade to this person, they're like a professional cosplayer.
So they spend all their
And
time there.
yeah, they spend
Yeah.
all their time doing it and they assume that these are things that every cosplayer has. And they were like, which of these couldn't you live without? And it was laser cutter, 3D printer, embroidery machine. And I'm like,
D,
oh
all
my
of the
God,
above.
not a single one of them do I need to live with.
Oh,
And
it's
I'm like, it baffles the mind, like what people expect. And you'll watch a tutorial online, especially I feel a bit sorry for like beginner cosplayers because so many tutorials are like, okay, and then print it out on your 3D printer, put the epoxy resin in, and then you want to fill it with this and sand it with this, and then get this primer and like I would be crying if I saw all the materials and things I had to buy that I just didn't understand.
it's also really hard because where you have the mind of like you see a thing and in your mind you're like, okay, this thing is close to this and I can change it. For people like me, I have to have patterns. I have to kind of see someone do it first and
Mm,
then like take those steps and change and then like mold it to things that I can actually do or like, hey, actually this works easier for me.
yeah.
But I have to follow steps. And in doing that, again, there was a TikTok that really summed it up well. It's like, I want to make this simple piece. Google's how like for a pattern or how to make this and everything was laser print or 3D printing and it's like
Right?
guess I'm hand sewing, some felt together to make it instead. And it's like, it's so hard because there's different levels of crafting. There's different masteries of crafting and there's different thinking of crafting. Some people see a
Mm.
cosplay and you're like, I can make it with paper, scissors, and some tape. And it's exactly like that. Whereas people, again, like me, were like, okay, where's the pattern to cut the paper and is there a particular type of scissors I should use, how long should I be spending on this? If I'm spending 6 hours on cutting this straight line, am I spending too much time? Like, we really need to be guided. And people
Mm.
are going to be like, that's not cosplay, then cosplay is supposed to be creative. You can be creative with guidelines because then you change it as you're
Mm.
making it. The guy step 1 says to do this. Okay, I've done this, but I don't like it. So I'm actually going to now do 1 point A and change it to how I like it. And then when I want to make
Absolutely.
something similar in the future, I now have my blueprint to make it. But when you're trying to find that very first blueprint, when everything
Well,
is these super expensive machines, I'm just like, I get stuck. And I'm just like, well, now I don't want to make it because I can't find anything that's
is it
not these expensive things.
right? It's suddenly become inaccessible to you.
Yes. So,
And there's not a lot of people out there who were breaking it down into like, here's how I made this thing with a glue gun and 300 yen foam.
oh my God,
There's, right?
I miss the days of YouTube where that was literally it. It was like bolt of fabric, hand, like needle and thread, and a glue gun, and they made cosplays. I miss those videos.
And me too, because you know what I did with a lot of the Baldur's Gate stuff? So I made some EVA foam horns, and they weren't quite the shape I wanted to. So I ended up buying some for the cosplay event because I didn't really have the time to make my own in the right shape within time. And they're gorgeous 3D printed. They're a little bit heavy, but they're absolutely beautiful, wonderful. Love them. Well done. Um, and then I look online and I'm like, you know what? There's loads of EVA foam patterns. For example, Rexy Cosplay has some amazing EVA foam patterns for horns. Everything is now 3D print files.
Oh my God.
Everything. I could not find a single EVA foam pattern on Etsy or anywhere else. And I mean, absolutely come into my DMs and correct me if you have found some. Correct me if you are wrong. For Karlaki stuff, I have seen a couple of Shadow Heart things, but mainly it's 3D print files. And now I'm excluded from that
Her
because I
head
don't have a 3D printer.
her headpiece is everything that sorry, I shouldn't say everything, but a lot of the accessories for Shadowheart are 3D printed or the laser cutter because different materials and things that you can iron on. And again, yeah, it's really disheartening. And I think it leads people to this fast fashion cosplay.
Mm,
There's nothing wrong with buying your cosplay. I buy my cosplays. I have most of my cosplays, just for listeners, most of my cosplays are bought at this point because I have a full-time job, I stream, I do so many other things that I can't put all my free time to cosplay, but I love being the characters. And so there's nothing wrong with that, but because things are inaccessible and there's no real help for like super beginner or even intermediate level, I feel like beginner level is kind of fine because we're like, hey, just buy this, do a little cutting, and you got a cosplay. Like we can still kind of do that with the cosplay sphere, but it's when you get to that intermediate level that everything goes out the window, and like we're saying, it like just jumps when it comes to materials, and that's when people get discouraged because again, a lot of people have a lot of different hobbies, especially again speaking not from a non-Japanese perspective, right? Because neither of us are Japanese. We have a bunch of different hobbies. We do a bunch of different things. So when something becomes inaccessible or becomes like too time consuming in a sense, sometimes we just don't want to do it and we just stop and we're like, there's a bunch of cosplay sites. I bet I could just buy one and just, still have fun with it. Whereas I believe those cosplay sites, I mean, were they made for money? Yes, of course. I'm not going to say like, capitalism isn't alive and thriving, unfortunately, but like the whole thing with buying a cosplay was so that people could access cosplay. And now that they can access cosplay, that elite in my opinion, that elitism again with the 3D printer and all this stuff has pushed it again, so that now it's like, well, now you can't enter unless you put in shit ton of time and resources and money that none of us have in this day and age.
Absolutely, especially when you look at cosplay contests, the level is just insanely high, and the things they're getting, judged on these days. You're judged on your EVA foam, you're judged on your embellishments, you're judged on your embroidery, you're judged on your sewing technique, you're judged on your wig, you're judged on your 3D printing, you're judged on... There's so much scope to be judged on and get extra points for now.
That rely on money. I'm gonna say it.
Rely on having those resources, and like, it's not every competition is like that. That's for sure. But it if you can get extra points for a really well-made prop, and a really nice wig, and a really nice 3D printed and the jack of more trades,
the points add up.
If you can wind up some more points on there. But like, like you were saying about your choosing little projects and altering it, at the end of that you were like, oh, you can think about how many skills you've picked up, how many new sewing skills like do you have just from that one little project, and it's probably a lot.
I can make a bow now. I can make a very nice bow just from fabric. And I will say my sewing machine, but you can do it by hand. I did find something to do it by hand. But like the little schoolgirl or the Sailor Scout bows, I know how to do that now. And it looks so freaking good. I'm still so proud of the single bow I did for Ruby Hoshino.
You should be proud. And that's the thing about cosplay is like when you make something, shitty or not, you should be proud of it because you made it. And you know what? You made it. That's more than most people in this world do. Yeah. Like I've got friends who like, oh, I could never make something like that. And yes, you can. You can. You just need the knowledge and you just need the time.
And you need to understand it's not going to be good the first time. I should say that bow, God. That's the third time I attempted to do it.
Exactly. I can't even show people my so I've got two of like my first cosplays. Well, I'll talk you through some mistakes I made about 15 years ago when I was about university age. That's like sort of 19, 20 or so. This was a good few years back, 12 years or so.
You mean like 3 years ago? Yeah, I got you. No worries.
And so my first prop mistake was I made a 3D maneuver gear from Attack on Titan. Now I bought the cosplay, but I made the 3D maneuver gear, and I was so proud of it. But I'd made it out of cardboard, and it was so heavy that it like dropped down my legs throughout the day and just broke my cosplay because it was too heavy for my straps. But I didn't know about EVA foam, so I was just trying something new because EVA foam wasn't really so much of a thing back then. Like, I didn't know where to buy that. I'd seen a few people who had used it online, but I was like, I don't know what that is. But I do have a lot of cardboard. And it looked great. It was horrendous because it was so heavy.
But I bet because you did it with cardboard the first time, when you actually got EVA foam, you were like, oh, well, I just can fit the pieces like this, like I did the cardboard. Okay, I gotta change this a little bit because, the function of the EVA foam is different from cardboard. But, like, oh, if I just fit it like this because I trialed and errored it with the cardboard in the beginning, that, like, those trial and errors, the things you learned from when you were putting it together with the cardboard,
Exactly.
you didn't have to go through that again because you're like, no, it didn't work then, so it's not going to work now.
And I would love to say that I could do that now, but my dad threw it away when I moved to Japan. Oh yeah, my dad threw it out when I moved, and he said, well, it's just trash, isn't it?
Trash that took up a part of my life and I worked really hard for.
Right, I mean, fair enough. It was trash, let's be honest.
But still.
My trash. And no, I wouldn't have brought it with me to Japan. It was too big. So, like, fair point. But,
I feel like you need... I feel like if you're going to get rid of a cosplay or you're going to get rid of something, you kind of need a little ceremony to get rid of it. Especially when you put... Right. You spend so much time on it. Again, whether you made it or you bought it, like, you spent time in it. You spent time as that character and you put time into it and you're like, it needs a proper send-off. So I understand. I can't even imagine, like, parting with any of my stuff right now.
And one of my, sort of going back to my mistakes, one of my first handmade costumes was Yuna from Final Fantasy X, one of my first sort of sewing projects. And I had kept that. And I brought that to Japan with me, and I took it out the other day. And, like, I just hadn't hemmed it. Like, I didn't know what hemming was, apparently. And I just looked at them and was like, oh, this is just raw edges. Everything raw. And, like, what was I thinking? Because I just didn't have the skills or know. My mum, like, had a sewing machine, but it was an awful thing that sort of stopped working every now and then. And you'd just go and just stop. But yeah, like, no one had ever, like, told me how to sew or taught me that, like, hemming was something that you did. And I just took it out and I'm like, oh, so everything is raw edges. Oh no. Dreadful.
I made quote unquote made. No, I made it. It's the quote unquote shepherd's little black dress from Mass Effect. And I made it for stream. So I was like, I'm not going to wear this out. Because some of the mistakes I made was the fabric I got was perfect for stream. It was, like, really nice sheen, and it wasn't the really, like, hard leather that, like, her actual dress is probably made of, right? It was just something
it's
I could...
Cute.
Yeah, like, I made it with stream in mind, so I was like, it doesn't need to be perfect. Like, I know the bottom isn't hemmed, because I was like, no one's seeing the bottom. But I remember doing the ribbon. And that is when I realized, because the dress... I made the dress with 2 pieces, and I sewed this, for those who don't know of the black dress from Mass Effect that FemShep wears, it's a sleeveless, like, short little black dress, and so I just had to sew on the shoulders and on the sides. But if you actually look at the dress, there's, like, different paneling. Again, I made this thing in a week, and I'm still proud of the fact that I did it in a week. But I remember realizing why the paneling was so important, because there's red detailing that makes her figure look fantastic. And I just did it with ribbon because I was like, I just need the red details, and hell, you can't even really see it when I'm sitting down. Like, it's like mid torso and down, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But when I look back at the pictures I took to kind of, like, promote it, because I mean, you're gonna take pictures when you're in cosplay, I did a tacky glue, a fabric glue, don't get me wrong, I did fabric glue to it, and it didn't stick because of the material that I used. The glue would not stick to this black material.
Oh no.
I know. And then I was like, okay, I'll just send it through the sewing machine. It's fine. It's going to take me a little time, and I got to be really careful because the dress was together. Had I known that the glue wasn't going to work, I wouldn't have put the full dress together. I would have done the ribbon on top of the front piece, and then
Like while you're doing it at the same time.
yeah, and then sew both black pieces together to make the dress, because I had to scrunch and maneuver a fully done dress so that it didn't sew into the backside, enclosing the dress completely. I did that. I did that for a couple stitches, and this, I guess, is like pleather. I don't know. It seems a little softer or like thinner than pleather. It is not nice. It is not forgiving with needle holes. So again, this is solely made for stream because they're not huge, but there's a small line where I just wasn't careful and I did sew the dress together just to get this ribbon on.
All right, that's it. Everyone listening to this podcast, and I'm sure you're all Patreon members, etc., etc. Just go and find those holes. Report back to me.
They can't. It's in the back. You can't see shit. I didn't show anyone. I'll just send you a picture after if you want me to.
All right, I'll show you my horrendous hemless Una costume.
We're just gonna show bad cosplay pictures now.
I want to see more bad cosplay.
You know what? True.
Good cosplay with like editing these days.
If you're a
show me the horrible shit.
If you're a cosplayer and listening to this on Twitter or Instagram, just at me, at both of us, and just like show us not your bad cosplays, but your cosplay mistakes. And we will all enjoy our cosplay mistakes together. Because honestly, if you can't, in the moment, you can cry and you can be upset because you put work into it and it's, not working. But if you're not laughing at it in hindsight, you're taking...
I want to see the horrendous seam lines. I don't want to see any of this. It matches up perfectly. No. I want to see the EVA foam that you accidentally cut into the wrong shape and then you stuck it down anyway. That's what I want to see.
I want to see the puckered sleeves. I can't do a sleeve to save my life. So fellow people who cannot sew sleeves into the sleeve holes, show me those puckers. I need it.
I want to see the collars that just won't sit straight or in the right position. I hate collars, and I want to see more of rubbish collars, okay? I'm a simple woman with simple needs. Give me a horrible cosplay mistakes, please.
Give us your cosplay mistakes. We want to see them and we want to enjoy them because we've probably all done them.
Right, and if you haven't done them, you lie. You lie.
Or you will. Or you will. You just haven't gotten there yet. You haven't attempted it because you're scared of making a mistake. Welcome. You will make the mistake. You will learn from the mistake and you'll get better. But you have to make the mistake first.
Exactly.
I truly love cosplay though. But
it's so much fun.
It's so much fun. And again, this is, in my opinion, this is the kind of relationship you want with other cosplayers, where you admit your mistakes. We're not gatekeeping it. We're not saying everything is perfect.
No, absolutely. And like, sorry, go for it.
We're just making connections because we like things. We might not like the exact same things when it comes to cosplay, but we enjoy cosplay. We enjoy being ourselves in cosplay, and like those are the connections you need. This is what I wish the cosplay community was more of, or what people saw the cosplay community as. Because recently, I just think it's elitism and toxicity that gets shown to the public more so.
And I think, for me, like talking about elitism as well, like you know what? You come wearing the most horrendous cosplay from the same like thing as me. Oh my god, let's take a picture together. I love it. I love the fact that you love the thing that I love. I don't care that your cosplay is half hanging off your body. Like, and there are some people who are like, you don't match the vibe, you don't match the look, I don't really want to take a picture with that person. Like, nah, gimme.
Oh my god, we love this. Why can't people just get along on the fact that you love the same character?
Right? Oh my god, this thing of like, you can't cosplay them because I cosplayed them.
That's
Weird.
so stupid.
Weird.
You did not message me 8 months ago when I started working on this. You don't get a say now. Like that is so weird. And if anyone's doing that to you, if there's any newbie cosplayers, fuck them. Just
Like, you,
from us,
you can't
fuck
own
them.
a character at all.
Nah, you cannot.
And I think for me, like, okay, just going into like slight tangent on cosplay here. Like, I've started making Morrigan from Dragon Age Veilguard. Delicious.
I love
Dragon Age.
I love your update pictures on Instagram.
Right.
Oh,
And
Grace on cosplay.
all she's got so far is this like reveal trailer of the front of the cosplay. Okay, I can't even see what shoes she's wearing. It doesn't matter because I know Morrigan, and I think some people are like, "Oh, yeah, how can you make a cosplay from that?" Because it's not even out yet. And I'm like, yes, but this is a character I know. We've met Morrigan in the previous ones, so I know that I love and hate Morrigan at the same time. And I want to cosplay her because I've never cosplayed her. And then I saw the outfit and I was like, here,
This is
mother, come to me on my body immediately. And I started making it. And like some people have found it a bit weird. And I wouldn't
What?
cosplay any of the other characters because I don't know them. Like, and I've seen some people cosplay them already. And I'm like, this game is not even out yet. And you have made a cosplay of this character who technically in my mind doesn't exist yet. And like, well done. Hats off to
Yeah.
your hard work for that. But I don't know if they're going to be a wanker.
And
Like, at least I know Morrigan is a wanker.
I love her anyway.
And I love her for it. That's her vibe, okay? She
Hey.
is mother.
Hey, I've already
So, yeah.
playing Dragon Age 2, I've already realized I'm not going to end cosplaying when I get older. I'm just going to start cosplaying Flemeth. And we all know what she's like. And I'm like, I'm fine with this. I'm going to do it. She's just too I love
Well,
her.
I mean, the new Morrigan is wearing Flemeth's crown. And it is a point of, like, quite the drama within the community. Why?
I'm not there yet. Okay, that is such a
Even
good...
we don't know why. We don't know why.
Oh,
either.
okay.
Like, so it's everyone is just like, what? Why? Information needed.
So for listeners, this is a great segue because this is the other thing I wanted to talk to you about today was Dragon Age Veilguard. And for people who don't know, Grace, super into Dragon Age. She's played all the games. Me, I finished...
Disgustingly into Dragon Age. Apart from I haven't played Origins, so don't come for me.
That's the only game I have played, and I just started Dragon Age 2. But I'm so mad. I'm gonna say this. I am mad at the Dragon Age community.
Why?
Because so many people were like, oh, you don't need to play Dragon Age 2. Just go to Inquisition so you'll be ready for Veilguard. And I'm like, nope. There's characters in 2 that I know there's characters. I know we all... Veilguard, for better or for worse, if you weren't spoiled before, Veilguard kind of spoils it for you. Egghead. Like, you know...
My sweet baby Eggman.
But, like, we kind of know that he's not going to be good, so if you start Inquisition, you've seen the Veilguard trailer, you're kind of like, oh, wait. You can kind of know things if you've stayed away from spoilers. So I knew that, but I don't know any of the plot of Inquisition or 2, and, like, obviously those are connected to Veilguard. But people are like, oh, yeah, you can just skip 2. It's like, you know, Inquisition's the one you need for Veilguard, and I'm like... One, how dare all of you try to keep Daddy Varric from me? Because I saw him in Veilguard, and I was like, wait, is he in 2? And then I met...
Inquisition as well, and he gets to be, like, playable companion.
Oh! But I met him, but had I skipped 2 upon people's, you know, like, recommendations, I would have only had Daddy Varric in 2 games. So now I get him in 3 games. And I love this man, and I don't know who I need to fight for the fact that I can't romance him, but I'm about to fight. Like, I have my other romances.
Romance him in Inquisition.
You can? You can?
I'm pretty sure you can.
Wait, am I about to Google this? Wait, no, wait, no, my Inquisition romance has to be Cullen, because I flirted with him in Origins.
Okay, but, I'm going to give you some information now.
Oh,
Do
no!
with it as you will. Are you aware of Dear Cullenites?
Oh, fuck. Are they gonna ruin this white boy for me?
So, the voice actor for Cullen, sort of went on a bit of a rant.
Aw.
Um, it was bad.
I don't like
Um,
the
but he did it as the character,
no.
Cullen, and it's called Dear Cullenites, and I don't know if you can find it on the internet anywhere anymore because it was like scrubbed. It was so bad.
What was the gist of it?
Oh, it's a little bit transphobic-y, racist-y, sexist bad.
Dude, why would you ruin a character for me?
Sorry.
Not
but
you,
I feel
him.
like it's
Not you, him.
I feel like as if when you start to get into Inquisition, like someone in chat is going to mention it because we all have collective flashbacks in the Dragon Age community.
I appreciate that heads up. Now, okay.
I mean, but a lot of people are like, I'm going to romance Cullen and make my character trans deliberately. Like, some people are really spiting it and be like, I know he's not getting a penny off this.
Now, that is the right attitude to have.
So
See,
don't feel like you can't romance Cullen. Just be aware that Dear Cullenites exists and just avoid it, basically, unless you've got morbid curiosity.
I do have that, and I might actually go scour the internet for it after this.
It's long as well. It's just long.
See, I don't have a problem. Like, in some cases, like, especially when it comes to characters, when it comes to full-on creators, like producers and stuff that do things that I don't agree with, it's a little bit harder because, no matter how I take in that thing, they're gonna kind of always get money from it kind of thing, and I don't want to support that. But when it comes to, like, voice actors and actors, I can kind of separate their characters a little bit from, like, themselves. But when you do something in the character voice, why would you do that?
The fact that he just really went for it and he was like, I'm doing this as Cullen. It's just, I mean, it was a choice. It was a choice.
People can judge me on loving Astarion all they want, but I still have Neil. And that man, God,
Neil is a sweet baby angel, but people are weird about him. What are they? Leave the man alone.
Leave him alone. Leave the voice actors alone, okay?
Right.
Stop being weird. Stop being weird. You can love Astarion. Like, again, people know how feral I am about Garrus, okay? But if I ever saw the voice actor, you'd be a normal fucking person, y'all. I need people to chill. Otherwise, we're gonna stop getting nice things. And we're already fighting AI as it is, so.
Right? So, like, I'm about, like, the Veilguard. Because a lot of people online are just be like, do not give these actors the Astarion treatment. Do not treat them like you've treated Neil. Like, fair enough, the rest of the Baldur's Gate cast have not been treated with the same freakiness. I just, for want of a better word.
What's so, I don't know, courageous, weird, whatever you want to say, Neil still goes to events and stuff. Like, they did the him and
man, okay?
him and the Karlach voice actress. They went to that live D&D session with Abria as the DM.
Right?
And, like, the man is a gem. He's very sweet. Can we just stop being weird, people? Come on.
I'm sure everyone listening is not the problem. I can't imagine anyone listening is the problem.
But you might have that friend that's that way. And now this is your call out. Tell him to fucking stop.
Just rein it in.
Just rein it in.
It's okay to like something a lot. It's okay to love a character. It's absolutely fine. It's not real life. But when it becomes real life, that is...
Write your fan fiction. Get it out of your system. And then be a normal person.
Yeah.
Okay, we've done our tangent into the voice actors and stuff, which, I mean, you do voice acting. I'm still trying to break into it, so that's very on par for us.
And, like, frankly, you say you're still trying to break into it, as am I, because it's so hard to get into and so oversaturated and so nightmarish. And
They've got their people. Again, there's a reason why, and I'm not judging them whatsoever. Like they go through their stuff too. They work hard for theirs. But that's why, like, when you see anime or video games, you see a lot of the same names. Or if you see a voice actor and all their credits is like 100+ credits, it's like they're in. And the reason why it's so hard to break in is because people would rather go to those people who do have good quality, they've got experience, and they've got all this, going for them. So why would they go for newbies? But that's also not to discourage people from getting into it. You and I, we try things, we get it or we don't, and
if you're not trying anything, well, you're not doing anything. Like, I know that sounds a bit harsh, but I think there's a lot of people out there who are like, I want to do this, and I'm like, well, do it.
Me and this
I know
podcast.
a lot of time money is absolutely an issue. And like, I get that. I completely get that. But there are people out there who probably do have the monetary means to do something. They're like, eh. And I know there's a lot of things like ADHD and neurodiversity that can make you sort of really unable to like motivate yourself. You just gotta do it.
I cannot stress enough, as we're recording this, I truly don't know how the quality is going to turn out, because like we're recording this separately. I'm also recording it through a bot on Discord, which we've already had a couple of blackouts kind of thing with connections and stuff. But that was my thing, is that like I want to do podcasts, I want to talk with my friends and creators and just really chill. And so that was the thing, is just I just got to do it and try, and just it kind of goes back to that cosplay thing. You do it, you try it, you keep what works, and you change what doesn't.
And if you find something doesn't work for you, or you don't actually like it, because I did YouTube for a while, and I enjoyed it for a while, and then I sort of started like, I'm not enjoying this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying making videos, so I stopped. And like, great, I have the luxury because I wasn't making money off it or anything, that like stopping for me was absolutely fine. But like, some things you just have to give it a try to find out if it's for you or not. Like, sort of, I really dislike theatre acting. I've given that a go. I've been on stage a number of times, and it just hasn't clicked for me. And I know I love acting, but that's not for me. You just have to give it a go, a lot of things. And like, a lot of people are like, I'm too old to do that. And I'm like, well, you know what? You have one life, doesn't really matter.
Yeah. People are like, I'm too young, I'm too old, I haven't done this yet. And it's like, your life isn't gonna stop. You're old, not to be rude, you're only gonna get older. If you're young trying to break in, you're not going to get the experience you need if you don't start now. And again, like, with things that you don't like, I hate editing YouTube videos. Hate with a passion. I love VODs because it's cut the beginning when I'm talking to chat, cut the end when I'm talking to Twitch chat, and like any breaks in the middle, and it's done. VOD is up. But like my edited content, I hate editing. But I will say, watching the video at the end when I'm doing the final look through and my cuts and things, and I'm like, man, I really hope these cuts were at good points. Love that. That is my satisfaction. Whether it does numbers on YouTube or not, it doesn't matter, because I'm satisfied with the work that I've done. I put in the work and I'm satisfied. Therefore, I keep doing it because I like that end result and I know I can get a good end result. However, like you were saying, you were like, nah, YouTube, I'm good. I'm not happy with any part of it. So try something else. Again, it's just the trying thing.
Exactly. And especially that end result, because there will be an element of everything and anything in life that you do not like. It does not matter what it is, there will be an element you don't like. But yeah, I mean, for me, I knew it was voiceover, like, quite, not sort of like a long time ago, because I'd always wanted to do voiceover, but I really sort of cemented in me was actually only last year, where I did a Fujitsu campaign, and they showed it back to me, and I was like, that's it.
This is it.
This is it. It was just a moment of like, that's my voice on that. It sounds really professional. I mean, it is professional. I'm getting paid to do it. I am a professional.
Yes.
I can't be like, it sounds professional. It is professional. It's professional work. All these people are getting paid thousands to make this thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't let the imposter syndrome come in. But like, and I was like, I contributed to that. I did that job, and you know what? I did it fucking good.
It just feels
It
it
was
feels
just
surreal sometimes, I think. I think people imposter syndrome is definitely a thing, and like thinking like, "Oh, I'm not a professional." It's like you are. You're just in the state of like this that can't be me. It's like it's surreal. Like it hasn't
mm,
clicked in your brain, and you're phenomenal. Again, we as we were prepping for this and I was doing the first like test recordings, I was like, Grace has a voice for podcasting. I don't know how I'm gonna end up. I think I'm more funny when you can see my face, so we'll see how someone's gonna comment that I just because I'm just funny looking and y'all can shut up. But even as I'm
whereas I know I'm funny looking, and I don't want to be featured visually.
but like
So
I don't know what you're doing right now, but as I'm talking to you, I keep looking at my camera and I'm moving and I'm like moving my hands and stuff because that's just who I am, kind of thing. But you have
I'll tell you where I am. Just in case you didn't know, podcast people, we're not sitting in a little studio space. No, no, no. We're in our own homes. We're doing this via Discord. We're all good. I'm in my bed. I'm all snuggled up in bed.
I'm at my desk. I'm just at my Twitch setup, basically. So when we're saying just do it, just try, again, I don't know what the quality of this is gonna be. I'm gonna post it either way. I am forcing myself to post this, whether the quality is up to what I think is my standards or not, because this is a great conversation. I think we've made really good points and people need to hear it. I'm just doing
You're
it and
not listening to
trying.
me. I'm a dude, bro, with a podcast. How dare you? No women, right? When a
No.
woman does a thing. Look, if those guys can do a podcast,
We could do a podcast.
I certainly think we've got more to say than them.
We have been going for a bit, but there is one last thing I want to talk to you about because
No.
we started on it and then we segued away from it because that's what we do.
Is it the Veilguard? Because let me tell you all about the Eggy Man, our Lord and Savior Solus.
Well, I do want to, again, I want to get you on after you've played it. So I would really like what you're looking forward to, what you're. I don't know if you could do it without like major spoilers since I still have to play people, but like.
I think I'll be alright not to spoil too much. So actually, I've got another friend who's very into it, and she came around my house and we made a Veilguard bingo. So I will be playing Veilguard bingo. If you want to check my Instagram stories and Twitter as we go along, we'll be seeing how many bingos we get.
So, I mean, honestly,
Those
you
were
could
just
tell
like
us what's
our
on
picks, right?
those.
And they're just our like predictions for the game. So
If you,
um,
yeah, if you just want to read those, that would work, or whatever you want to do. What are predictions? What do you want?
my
Predictions
predictions are a
and.
little bit too like spoilery for maybe
Oh,
for what
okay.
you know. But when it's out, like it's a little bit more fair game. But
Yeah.
my plan is I'm going to like. So it actually comes out on my birthday. I have been blessed by the Dragon Age gods.
Is the husband buying it for you?
Well, I've pre-ordered it, so
I can't do anything nice for you because if he wasn't going to buy it for you, I was going to buy it for you.
right. Okay, just pre-warning.
Okay.
Slightly off topic here, but I pre-ordered it on my British account from the British store because I'm not buying Japanese games from the Japanese PlayStation store again. So my friend bought Baldur's Gate,
Oh no.
and you can't even choose your own genitals on it or see any of the sex scenes and violence scenes.
Japan, you have an X-rated
Entered in
section
Japan.
at move. Oh my god.
She got to like the Gale romance scene, and it's like sort of going into the sky wizard sensual moment, and like there was nothing.
Black screen.
They got like a little like one line of like, and then you enjoyed the night together, and she was like, Grace, where's my Gale scene? And I'm like, yeah, you were robbed. So I will not buy it on the Japanese store in case it's really censored.
Japan just cock-blocked everyone in Baldur's Gate.
I I am so sorry for her.
My
She sent me the video and she was like, "Is this what it's supposed to be?" And I'm like, "No, dear child, no." So just anyone who's listening in Japan, they're like, "Oh, I'll pre-order it in Japan." No, 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 no,
no,
no.
no, no.
Do it in your own country. But yeah, no, with Veilguard, I think I'm looking forward to the combat system being a little bit more less hacky slashy. A little bit more tactical. I think not a lot of people use tactical. I never used tactical.
I don't.
Um, and I think the back combat system's going to be a lot better from the looks of it. I think the companions all look nicely designed. A lot of people don't like the look of it because it's gone more stylized.
Mm.
Previously they were very sort of kind of realistic looking. Now there's a little bit more of like a not cartoonish element, like, but people like compare it to Fortnite. That's not it at all.
Ah.
But like there's a stylistic element to it that a lot of people don't seem to be getting on board with. I'm fine with. I think it's an artistic choice. Will it work? We'll see when I play it. Really.
I think
Um,
really quickly about that. I think the only thing I'm worried about, this is just from me seeing the like the trailer and where they played like the first 20 minutes. Like I don't know, it's like an hour long video and they played like a little bit of it to show the combat stuff like that. In that section at least, it was quite dark.
yes, it does look like it's going to be a dark game. I mean, I don't know if there will be worlds and places that are more bright, but if you look at Inquisition, Inquisition is a bright game. There's like
Mm.
only one area that's like particularly dark, but yes, a lot of it does look very dark and gloomy and broody, and like I get the look that they're going for.
I guess if it's
So
a
we'll see.
I guess if it's a contrast, again, I haven't played Inquisition. So I guess if it's a contrast, maybe that'll be nice. I think for me, it's just lots of movies and games are going to like these dark, muted. I don't want to say dull because they are still vibrant, but they're very muted, vibrant. And it's like, dude, I've got to push the brightness up like
Put that
all the
all the
way.
way up.
Yeah, because I want to see stuff. I want to see the details. So it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. But like you're saying, maybe there's other sections. Maybe that section in particular, because the monsters are coming out. And it's like
I just want
whatever.
to make an atmospheric sort of like to grip you in on the first thing. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, but we'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be good. I'm going to maybe take some time off work to play it. So it comes out on the 31st of October, everywhere else, but it actually comes out the 1st of November in Japan, because of time differences. So they're not doing any like comes out at midnight on
Mm.
whatever country, which I think is really good because then everyone gets it at exactly the same time. So in Japan, I am blessed on my birthday.
Yay!
Um,
Scorpios,
I had
baby.
I had the day off work anyway, sorted. So, I mean, we were going to go to Disneyland, but
But
look,
Veilguard.
we haven't booked tickets for that. We can do that other time.
It's fine.
So I might take a few days off, like in the week after as well, and see how it goes. And
Disneyland is forever. Veilguard spoilers will only wait about 24 hours. And even
right?
then, I
Oh
can't promise that.
my gosh, when Horizon Forbidden West DLC, it was like 3 hours after
Oh my
release. I hadn't
god.
even started playing, and it was ruined for me.
People are already playing Star Wars Outlaws, and I can't be mad. I posted this on Twitter. I'm not someone who plays a game as soon as they come out. I play games that I'm interested in. Right now, I'm
Mm.
interested in Dragon Age because the hype around Dragon Age. I love Star Wars. Star Wars will always be there for me. I also don't have the money for Outlaws. Cause it's expensive. Same thing with Veilguard. I will not be playing when it comes out. Cause it's expensive.
Games are expensive.
Games are so expensive.
Expensive.
Baldur's Gate 3 was gifted to me from a mod because he was like, I want you to play this. Not sorry, not in a way
Nom,
of
nom, nom,
like,
nom, nom.
yeah, not in a way like you need to play this on stream or I'll stop being your mod. But he was like, you're gonna love it. You've been looking forward to it. You want to romance the vampire. Here's the game. And I'll be honest, unless that's how I get games, it's very hard for me to buy any game over $15. I'll be totally honest.
Well, you're also a sweet baby Scorpio princess.
It's true.
So, and you can gift games on Steam. You can't do that on the PlayStation.
I, yeah. People ask me,
So,
people ask me why I'm so devoted to Steam. Like, that's kind of why.
I'm just saying that don't buy it because someone will buy it for
Ye-
you.
Don't you dare. By the way, I'm looking
I,
at
I,
you.
I never mentioned myself. How dare you?
I'm already gonna send you like $20 to kind of cover your buying it in advance. I gotta get you a birthday present.
Yeah, but also I won't be doing anything in November to spend my money or go out. I'll just be like in gremlin mode, so I'll have extra cash.
You'll be in gremlin mode playing Veilguard.
And like I will need you to join me in the on the horrendous side of um fandom that I will probably enter.
Girl, I gotta get through DA2 and Inquisition. I'm not getting through that in a month. Do you know?
Oh, true. Inquisition, like if you want to do everything, takes about 100 hours.
And people are already telling me I might need to play with the time difference, kind of like Animal Crossing.
I mean, if you don't want to do everything,
I don't know, but
then
I don't know yet.
because like all the side quests and stuff, some of them are just like a bit of a fetch and go. Not a lot of them. Most of them are really nicely world building in Inquisition, which I really enjoy. There's not a lot of like fluff.
Oh, that's good.
But like if you want to do absolutely everything, collect absolutely everything, it will take you about 100 hours. But I've got playthroughs where I've done the whole thing and Trespasser DLC. Don't do the Deep Roads DLC. I'm so sorry.
I don't like
really
the
don't
deep
like
roads.
it.
Dragon Age, I
Nobody
love
likes the
you,
deep
but I
roads,
do not
okay?
like the deep roads. That's why I didn't play Origins again. I played Origins before I did Mass Effect, and Mass Effect, all three games took me like a year and a half, and I was like, maybe I'll do Origins again, and I remembered the deep roads. I was like, I don't know, I can't do that again.
So the Deep Roads is only DLC, but I would say you can absolutely skip that. And then there's another DLC which I really enjoyed because it's about like the original Inquisitor, like 100 years or whatever ago, which was really nice. But to be honest, you can just do the base game and Trespasser. That's all you need. And I did that in about 25, 30 hours. I've got playthroughs that I've like completed in that time.
Okay.
So it's up to you how much you want to put into it. But of course, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. But you don't have to. You can just set up your base world, basically.
If it's something I want to like, no, I don't want to say rush through, but like get through the plot to go enjoy Veilguard, and then I can go back and do all the detailing stuff. That's the only problem with me is I very rarely go back to games. Like if I finished it, like as much as I love Mass Effect, I have played the story. I'm low-key good. I had my romance with my husbando. To be fair though, I got the best endings that the endings I wanted most. I got them in my first run, so I'm like, you know what? No, I'm good. Everyone survived the ending 2 mission. People who could survive 3 survived 3. My shepherd is technically still alive because I got all the war assets. Like, to me, I don't need to go back. So, but even other games that I've finished, again, Origins, I'm like, people are like, oh, you missed something. It's like, oh, yeah, I'll go back. And I have not gone back.
Yeah.
Deep Roads, I'm blaming you.
Inquisition's my favorite game of all time.
Ooh.
And it's my most played game. Well, I say my favorite game of all time, like Final Fantasy X probably, because it has the nostalgia in it as well. And then Horizon is very high up, but Horizon does not have the replayability. So Inquisition is my favorite game hours-wise and gameplay-wise. Maybe not my favorite game full stop, but it's certainly like is a big hitter for me.
Oh, I can't wait. I am enjoying my Dragon Age 2 though. I'm so excited to meet these characters, and I'm really excited for Inquisition, and I'm really excited for people who get to enjoy Veilguard.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
My only concern is like if Veilguard is bad. Like, okay, I said the thing out loud. Okay, I'm sorry.
Fine. It's out there.
But
it's fine.
There is always a chance it's only going to be okay. I don't think it'll ever be a bad game from the looks of it. It might be a good game, or it might be an exceptional game, or it might just be good. There is a chance it might just be good.
That's the one thing Dragon Age has going for it. It has such good backup games. Even people who said to skip DA2 will still say it's like there's still good points in it. You know, it's still a good game. And there's a
Exactly.
lore and there's a world and there's an overarching story that can be connected through all the games. And even at the very minimum, you fall in love with the character that you are. You fall in love with being the warden. I've already fallen in love with being Hawk. Like, people love being the Inquisitor kind of thing. Like, there's something you can fall in love with. The Mass Effect people, the only thing that could ruin, like, if Veilguard isn't, like, at least to a certain standard, the next Mass Effect game could be hindered. Yeah. But even then, I feel like there's a lot of people in the Mass Effect community that are like, nothing can be worse than Andromeda. I haven't finished Andromeda. I don't hate it.
Really hate Andromeda, don't they?
Yeah, they really do, and it doesn't deserve that. But I think that's the only thing that if it isn't up to par, then it could negatively affect the next Mass Effect game. But again, the thing that Mass Effect has going for it too is that it's got a long fan base as well. Like, people ignore Andromeda. There's people who like it, but like, people ignore that, and we just stick with the main trilogy, which is what they seem to be teasing that this new game is going to be. And I feel like you are to Dragon Age what I am to Mass Effect, which is what's really nice about us, is that we can connect on
BioWare
yeah, so we can appreciate what BioWare does for both of us, but we're also very aware that, no offense, if your game tanks, mine's in trouble. It's like it's a multiverse thing going on here.
That's the thing about it. Like, especially games that continue with story, there's always a chance it's not going to be as good as the one before, or it's going to be too different to the one before, or like there's going to be something you don't like about it. Like, I mean, when we look at Forbidden West and Horizon, most people don't like it as much as Zero Dawn. I like it more. But
expectations, player expectations, long-term player expectations make or break a game.
So for me, I'm going in to be like, this is going to be good. I'm not putting my expectations up to, this is going to be the best thing. I've been waiting 10 years. Yeah, I've been waiting 10 years. But like, yeah, a lot has happened in 10 years, and I have to, come in with it. This is going to be good. I think this is going to be good. I'm excited. It's nice to be excited about something.
And you can want things. You can want and like hope things happen. But if you expect that this person's going to show up or that this thing is going to happen, that is what's biting yourself in the ass.
Because a lot of people, like online, I'm seeing like, oh, I can't wait to see the Inquisitor and Solus like meet again, especially if they're romanced. And I'm like, look, Hawk turns up in Inquisition, but it's not a whole lot. I mean, there's some decisions and stuff you have to make about Hawk, but like, I think because people have poured so much love into their Inquisitor that they, but this is not a game about the Inquisitor. This is a game about Rook.
Yeah.
So I think, there's that.
Again, the same.
I have to leave my Inquisitor behind.
Oh. Well, maybe Baldur's Gate 3 helped with that, because at this point, people have made multiple tabs.
Right.
Like we're all connected to our first tab, but people have made multiple tabs, and so maybe we have that. Again, Mass Effect is right there with Dragon Age, though. People want Shepard. I kind of want Shepard, but like, if we truly think about it, Shepard's not going to be in this next game. Liara's too old. I'm telling you people now. Liara's too old for Shepard to be alive. Liara's too old for Garrus to be alive, okay? That's already broken my heart. So, we all need to accept it. We can hope for the things that we want in our games, but expectations are only going to hurt us all.
Yeah. So, although I am very excited and very happy, this is a franchise I absolutely adore, I am still going into, I think, with realistic expectations.
You're very good about that. I respect that about you.
I try to be very good about it, but inside I'm like, my Eggy man, he's back.
It's the professional. You're gonna have to kill him. I'm hate to tell you this.
Okay. So I made a decision, right?
Oh no.
Romanced Solus, loves Solus. Solus and them, it's such a tragic romance, wonderful. My Rook, oh man, Rook gonna cut Solus's head off.
Let's go! Different character, different romance.
Completely different.
Different character, different relationship. Oh.
I'm continuing this as the most tragic romance.
And then you write a fan fiction later about Rook meeting your Inquisitor and telling what happened, and then, you know, having that big blowout fight between the two of them, etc., etc. This is where fan fiction fills in the gaps.
So I'm open to like not continuing my same feelings for Solus. I'm open to like opening up the narrative a bit.
Well, I hope the best. I just hope it works out for you guys. Again, I'm gonna play it at some point, but I don't have this strong connection to Dragon Age as you guys do, as you do. But I'm just over here like, you know, waving my little Dragon Age flag, like, let's go. I hope it's good. I hope people enjoy it.
Do you want to know? Here's a fun little factoid. My first experience with Dragon Age,
Oh no.
was Dragon Age 2.
Yes.
And I was working in Blockbuster at the time. And I could rent games. So I could rent, you can rent 10 movies a month or 5 games.
Oh, wow.
Or like mix and match. So it was really, really good, like for free. And a guy comes in and he says, do you have any recommendations for games? And I was like, I've got a few. And he's like, I just want to kill some fucking dragons. He was really like, and I remember to this day, I just want to kill some fucking dragons, was what he said. And I didn't know Dragon Age, and I said, we tried this one. And I just pointed at it because it was called Dragon Age, and I'm like, there's gotta be like a dragon in there. He said, not enough fucking dragons. And I thought to myself, really? A game called Dragon Age, not enough fucking dragons? He was right.
But still.
But I had to play it to find out.
I don't know why I immediately connected that to Game of Thrones, which I've never seen. I just see snippets of it on TikTok lately. And it's like, there's no games! There's no games! What the hell?
No games. There's only one throne. Well, there's only one throne that they all want. I know there's different thrones, but like, there's not enough fucking dragons and not enough fucking thrones.
Those two things, same vibe. The same vibe. Well, I think that hits all the points for today. Grace, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me on. I very much enjoy chatting to you. You know I enjoy chatting to you anyway, but it's nice to have a little conversation we can share with everyone as well.
I mean, sometime in November, I'm going to have to get you back in and be like, okay, you have gone MIA for 2 weeks. I hear from your husband that you've barely eaten. We got you water, which that's great. Tell us everything
My
without spoiling.
My bleary eyes, the carpal tunnel which has set in.
You'll have to I'm getting you back. We have to hear. Now that we've heard things that you're looking forward to, you're hoping, the bingo card, I need to know how many things actually happen from your bingo card. So, go ahead. Go ahead and plug anything you want. Where can we find you? What content do you make on these socials? Like, we've talked about cosplay kind of thing, so go ahead. This is your moment to sell yourself.
Fabulous. My name is Grace. I go by Graceon because I have a Pokemon account, Graceon Pokemon, if you're interested in Pokemon stuff in Japan. And if you're interested in cosplay stuff and Dragon Age stuff and general nerdy bullshit, I go by GraceonCosplay on Instagram. And if you are interested in Twitter, we use Twitter here in this house.
Yes.
I am Grace Cosplayer because I could not get Graceon on Twitter, so I'm Grace Cosplayer on there, and it's mainly cosplay stuff, a lot of Horizon stuff I retweet on there as well. So please come get in my DMs, show me your horrendous cosplays. I will eat them up.
And all of those things will be in the description box below. Have never posted a podcast to YouTube, so we'll see how that works. If you're listening to this first come, first serve on Patreon, it will be in the description box. I don't know what else to call it. All the information will be there. I'll add the links to Grace's content as well as a little reminder of what she does on those things. And I have been your host, Reaper Babe, whatever you guys want to call me. Just don't call me babe. We've been through this.
I can call you babe.
Hey, because you're my cosplay wife, though.
I'm the only one allowed to, though. Let this be a warning.
It's true. As my boyfriend listens to this, wait a minute. But yes, I have been your host, Reaper, and you guys, if you're here, you already know where you're supposed to be. If you'd like to listen to this in advance, early on, you can go over to patreon.com/ReaperBabeGaming. I believe that's the correct link. If not, I'll put it in the description box because everything has a different link nowadays. Where even for $1 a month, you guys will get access to this and other videos and content way ahead of the public. So it's a great way to support me and to get more awesome people online with us for this podcast. We also don't have a title for this podcast. So if you want to give some ideas, that would be cool. If not, I'm always just going to start this with, this is my podcast. Because it's my podcast. But all the other things, all my information will be in the description box, and you can find your way through things as you wish. But Grace, last time, thank you so much. This was so much fun. And here's to potentially future podcast episodes with new people, with Grace again, with anybody who would want to come on here and talk about some nerdy things. And again, I have my fingers crossed so badly that the quality of this turns out mediocrely well. But with that, thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope that you have a great day, night, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.